Hello, everyone, and welcome to this. Welcome to this class of Driving Your Own Vision. The final episode in this series. There's going to be a brand new series which is going to be based on a course that we're doing pretty soon. If you watched my video, which I've put in the Mind Mod playlist, if you watch that, then you'll see what this video is all about. So this video is called Driving Your Own Vision, the final episode, and in this video we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about some of the things we haven't even covered, and some of the brand new things we're going to be talking about on the course. So if you're a newbie, I would say go back to some of the old videos. If you're an old person, an old bee, an old schooler, an old timer, and you've been with us since the old videos, stick with us. Or if you're newbie, just stick with us anyway. We're going to talk about driving your own vision, and in this episode, we're going to look back on the feature episodes. It's going to be waffling a little bit because I don't have any notes to hand. But anyway, first we're gonna go pretty simple. And by the way, for the people who are new and watching and wondering what this is all about, we took an NLP stance. So we looked at goals, and we looked at the vision. We looked at what really gets you going, really gets you, really gets your ticker going with these goals. If you've got something and you think, I need to get up and start that tomorrow, that sort of type of thing. Like Christmas morning, you're so excited, you really want to do it. And I've told my story of when I started a nightclub. January, cold afternoon, I went out and did it. Hey ho, that's the rest is history. But it might not be a business, it might be other bits and pieces. So it is a new year, it's a new start. You might be watching this and thinking, do you know what? And we make several goals at the beginning of the year. Career goals, I've made a few this year, which are more kind of career goals and non-career goals. But how do you reach the goal? Sometimes we make a goal that is too far. It might be something as ludicrous as I'm going to make $1 million this year, or £1 million. I'm going to make £4 million this year. I'm going to win the lottery. That goal is so far because there's no way in heaven you're going to do it from within a month, unless you know how to do it within a month. And by the way, I'm going to talk about shortcuts in this video. And I'm going to be mentioning the word millennial, so I forgot to mention that at the start. But anyway, so there may be the Zuckerberg crowd, there may be the Instagram people that can do that within a day or something like that. That's pretty ludicrous. But if you are not that type of person, there's no way you're going to make that in a day or a month or whatever. It will take you years to do it, And I think there are people that can get rich quick, very quickly, and they can cut the corners. We'll talk about that in a minute. But have they got the flow? Have they got the imagination? Have they got the spare and the flair to reach those goals? No, because those goals are way too wide. It's like, if you think about a football field, and I always picture this in my head, and you picture where the goalposts are, and if the goalpost is way too wide, narrow it. Each time. If you think, for example, tomorrow I'm going to do such a thing, and it never happens. Think, right, today I could do it later on, for instance. And think why you don't have the spare and the flair to do it. You may want to read upon something. You may think, right, I want to take time, I want to read upon it. It may be that you might want to play more guitar this year, something like that. But you might think, stars. I don't have a guitar. Or you've got a guitar and you think, don't know where to start with it. So it's things like that, and you think, maybe I can go and pay for guitar lessons, or maybe I can go on YouTube. You know, there's so many things people do, and you know, maybe like you might think, well, I'm gonna write a book. You know, this year I've decided to write this into a course. That's a big step for me, but anyway. And the little step for me is I've already got this prepared, because I did this series ages ago. It's taking all the episodes and taking all the different bits from the episodes and making sure I don't lose the flair. And I talked about losing the imagination. That was quite a sad episode, because it did happen, and it could happen to anybody. You know, children lose their imagination at a certain age. People keep their imagination, and there's a lot of myths and theories, and I'm going to talk about that on a Mind of a Burger behind the scenes episode that I'm doing, because I don't really want to talk about it on the actual podcast. So I'm going to do it. I'm actually thinking of doing that because I really want to talk about it and stuff. And so anyway, and as I talked about baby steps, if you, for example, if you've done something before, and Oscar, if you're watching this or listening to this, mate, this might help you out, because you did a 6 stages of change a while ago. And if you wanted to bring that back, if you thought, right, I'm going to help somebody today, but I don't know how to help them. I don't know how to, their goal is too wide for them. But they haven't really, I don't know, I've not really thought about this. And they haven't thought about it. But I've got an extensive library of knowledge. They haven't got anything. It's like walking into a warehouse. It's like the warehouse owner going, it's like they've got a warehouse full of stock, and the warehouse owner's going, well, I don't know what I can do for you. And they're walking into this warehouse, and it's like, hold on a second. There's a 15-inch television over there. You know, you didn't know about that, you know. I've actually got a little funny story about that. When my Auntie Ivy passed away, she had a house full of stuff. And when we went in there, we did not know what we were going to find. But just imagine if she was alive and she said, I've got this I've got this nice new jumper, but I really don't know where to start. You know, if she was going to give you a nice new jumper, I don't know where to start. And you said, right, well, look for this nice new jumper. And then you find her, well, can I have this, Auntie? She's like, yeah, go on, have it. You know? I don't know if that's been her flair, but that's, you know, so that's where I am with this. And I know somebody who's like that. And so, you know, if they've got something that they can give you, go, well, you got a book on this? You know? They give you the book. You flick through the book, you find something completely different. Go and help, you know. Well. Anyway. And it's going to be like that into this course. I want you to walk into a warehouse full of amazing things. It could be a warehouse, it could be a junk shop, it could be anything. It could be full to the brim. And I want you to just take what you can from it. That's the point of this. That's the point of this exercise. Now, we talked about in the beginning about the vision is where you are. Well, it starts you, but you have a vision in your mind before you go to sleep. And it may be that you're going to start something big. But you need to start small first. The vision may be, I'm going to start a community. And that's doable. In this day and age, that is doable. There's several TED Talks on it, but it's doable. Getting rich quick is not doable, but it is if you're in social media. Like I said, if you're in the Zuckerberg crowd, if you are the most popular Instagram person. And I want to talk about social media, because people want to know how to cut the corners. And as a business person, you should be looking at trying not to cut the corners all the time. Because yes, it might get you lots of money in a fancy car, but at the end of the day, are you happy? Are you satisfied? You've cut too many corners. You've lost where you could have made a win. You probably jumped the boat when you could have got the boat on that option. And that happens to everybody, but happens if you cut a corner. And I was listening to a guy on Moneybox. His advice was, well, you may miss the boat on TV shares, but something else will come around like that, and it'll be better. And you buy into it, and it becomes a better investment or a better chance. So don't sit around waiting for the boat to come back, because it might never come back. Wait for something else. Something else comes, jump on it, get that chance. So anyway, you might have a vision to, say, build a community. So a community it's a big goal, by the way. It's quite a wide goal, but it's doable. You could narrow the posts. You could start a small group. Could be a craft group, could be a baseball group, it could be a soccer group or football group or a basketball group or a music group even. A small church group. Has to be small. It has to be small, and you have to do it with love and passion. Right? What do you want the community to do when it grows? When it grows into a vast thing. You've got to have a place where people can just go. Because if you're starting a community, you need to have a hub where people are going to go. And it can be anything. Doesn't have to necessarily be a church or a hall. It'd be good to have those types of places to use. But it could be any place. It could be anywhere. It could be a cafe. It could be a shop. It could be a pub. It could be anywhere. But a small group becomes a large group, and a large group, and a large group, and then it becomes several different units. And people don't realise that you've done that, but you always have to have a central point to build a community, and you have to provide resources, and you have to provide resources for those other people. You have to look at different skills that those people have within that group. You know, so it could be as simple as making tea, or teaching people or helping people out, fixing things. If you can fix something, if you can repair something, you are a valuable member in that community, because people are gonna, if you can repair something, people are gonna go to you to repair that thing. Oh, can you repair this car for me? People are gonna go to you. Right, I've got a garage, and that's how people used to live like that. You know, when people, you know, when these traveling communities used to go out, there used to be a lot of community spirit, because those people were looked down upon and they were shamed upon because they didn't have real jobs, but they had proper skills. You know, if the caravan broke down or whatever, these people could fix, you know, the exhaust pipe or get them back on the road, or some of these people could, you know, sing and play guitar and get food, and these people just knew a lot, you know. People knew, you know, you'd go to somebody, and you know, somebody might know how to get the best firewood, or so you go to that person. Right, have you got firewood? Yeah, I'll sell it to you for, you know. And these people were making money by handing people resources, and that's how these little communities were done. Unfortunately, they got destroyed because they were shamed upon and frowned upon. Some of these people still live out on the road because they know how to do it, they know how to survive, they know how to thrive, they know how to get money, and they know how to sustain their future. I was watching a guy on YouTube who lives out of a caravan, and he said there's a lot of hard work that goes into living, but you've got to know how to, you know, these people aren't, you know, you can't afford to be lazy all the time. You've got to know what to do. So anyway, so that's building a community, and it doesn't become, it's not easy, but it's doable, and especially today you've got social media. You know, if you've got people saying, oh, come to my group, you know, not just social media, but there's radio, there's various places where you can put things, people in the know, and once they know that you've got something going, they then jump on board with it. And you then start building up. I mean, if there are several community groups, if you can chain yourself to them groups, then you start a circuit. And once you've got a circuit going, wow, well, then you've got a community of your own that you lead. Those other groups lead themselves, but you are a leader of that community. You say, right, I know a mechanic. He's just down the road from me. You know, I know a telephone engineer. They repair our phones. They're actually putting a phone in on this road. Blah blah blah. They'll fix your phone. Blah blah blah. They'll get you going. We've actually got a web designer. You know, we've got people. You know, and that's how. You know, if you watch some like early documentaries on technology and stuff. That's what people used to do, you know, and they're still doing it today. And they're valuable members of the society. Some people have gone to being councillors because they can make a change, you know. Oh, look at all our green spaces. Well, actually, a few gardeners will get together. We'll get these weeds taken down or whatever. So, and start small, and it goes big. It could just be a few people sat around in a living room drinking coffee, going, oh, do you know what? We could actually, there's a garden around the corner. Let's see if we can change it. We could grow a few things here, blah, blah, blah. You know. Well, we need people that can clean the rubbish up. Well, I know a friend who can clean the rubbish up. We need somebody who can drain the water out and whatever. Oh, I know a person that can do that. We need somebody who's got lots of seats. Oh, I know somebody who runs a garden centre. Within minutes, you're not just talking about it, you're doing it. You're going into that green space and you're putting it alive. And soon, hey, I know somebody who can build a play area. Right? I know somebody who is interested in building a tennis court. You know, then you've got a green space you've built. Right, well, I know some people who want to set up a cafe. You know? Then there you go. You've got a community already. And it's not done overnight. That would take quite a few months to do, by the way. But that's how it starts. I've seen groups that have started from 4 or 5 people to 20, 30 people. I've seen shops that had about 5 or 6 people to having 30 or 40 people working for them. And like I say, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens. You've got to have the passion. It's got to be in your heart. You've got to have the energy and stuff. And you've got to provide the service. Anyway, so moving on from that, you can't keep putting things off. You know, I've spoke about procrastination and stuff, and how you can take shortcuts and stuff, and how you get rich quick and cutting corners. If you wanted to build a community, there'd be no way you could cut a corner. Okay, you've got Facebook and stuff, but all the rest of it, you'd have to put a bit of effort in, I think. There's no way you'd be able to, you know. So, and if anyone's got a vision for it, good luck to you, you know. I can't imagine doing a TED Talk in a few years' time. Do you know what? I advise people to do these communities, and here they are, building actual. In fact, YouTube is a place where you could build a community. If you wanted to. That's how the autistic community's grown. There's thousands of people in the autistic community, and whatever community you want to be a part of, be a member of. You could actually do that through YouTube. You know, that's how you don't really meet people properly, but that's how you follow them and then try and find them elsewhere. And that's how they become valuable members of the community. The geek community, that unfortunately in YouTube, that's shrank a bit in YouTube, but in other places it's still thriving and surviving. podcast communities, well, they're going bigger again. It's they're starting a podcast. They know what they want to talk about. They know that what they want to jump on and talk about. So that's what they do. So that's just one thing. Another vision you could have would be to build a computer, or a car that flies or something like that. And you'd have to think, wow, how am I going to do this? And you'd have to, again, start small to work big. I mean, you look at like Richard Branson and Alan Sugar. They didn't just have these massive companies overnight. They were in very poor areas. They had to do stuff like fruit picking and paper rounds and all that business to get where they are today. And they had to stick at it. Even Steve Jobs, you read his book, and he didn't have a massive computer company. He was doing other things, and he stuck at them. Yes, he fell out with a lot of people along the way, but if you saw the pathways that he had to go through, and he knew what he wanted to do, and he followed it to the latter. And he knew where he wanted to go because he went in those industries but thought, no, the video game industry, that's not going to do it for me. This industry's not going to do it for me. That industry's not going to do it for me. Right. This is what I want to do. And I'm going to stick at it. And even Bill Gates, even though they had massive fallouts and everything, look at where they are today. And even people like Tim Cook, for example. So it's just, you look at these big people and you think, how do they get to where they're going? It's because they did all the small things. Yes, today I think you can still, do little jobs. I think today it would be, the equivalent today would be a paper round. You probably could smell. You probably could sell stuff. Today it'd be a bit more difficult, but yes, you could do it. I mean, I'm trying to think one of the big stars that worked in a bar before they got to where they are now. I mean, it's busking, or you could sell your product, in a car boot sale or something like that. You have to start somewhere. I think it was Ed Sheeran who worked in a bar or something before he actually became a musician. And he wasn't, but he did get, successfully known and stuff. And I really look up to these independent artists because they, some of them have real jobs and, it's quite sad. I mean, boohoo type of sad, but they get success in the end, and they get their big house or whatever. But anyway, enough of that. And the vision might be, right, I'm a musician. Where do I go? And I would say start as a busker. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. You're not going to be liked. But I always think this. If you are busking, right, if people can hear you busking, and this is what I think, when I walk on the street, when I walk down the street and I hear a busker, I think, would I want to hear them on iTunes or Spotify? Would I want to hear them in my car? Would I want to hear them in the shower? That's the type of thing you think, right, when you walk down the street. And if you're a musician, that's something you should be thinking yourself, like, do I want people, if I'm making this type of music? Because when you go busking, it's like you're in the shop. People are hearing you. But you're sort of, it's like window music shopping, I think of it like, because people hear you, they don't really get a chance to buy you your music, but they sort of put money in your guitar case or jar or whatever you have, your bucket, and hey ho, got a bit of money to take home. And you know, you're not just putting food on the table, but you might think, right, well, that's a bit of studio money, I can go in the studio and make a track. There's some musicians that actually do busk, that have recorded albums and stuff. Ed Elaine Johnson was the person I was thinking of, but that's a different thing altogether. But going back to what I'm saying is, you know, if you're thinking, right, I'm going to go in the studio and make the big time, and so you start as a busker and then you go on to being this big star, it's because somebody's found you on the street and you've got the real talent. A lot of those people, though, don't go into the studio and make an album. But there's a lot of people on the street that I've heard and thought, oh, it'd be great doing an album. And you go to, have you thought going in the studio and recording this? The thing they say is, no, we haven't thought of going in the studio. They probably think that nobody would buy their music, but they're completely wrong. People would buy their music. And some people have paid for them to go into a studio or work on a track for them or whatever. That has happened. And that's, you know, personally, that's what they do. But at the end of the day, it's a day job that they love, that they get to do every day of the week. And there's parts about that job that they probably don't like, you know. They're going out in the cold some days, rain some days. They're getting booed, hissed probably. They probably get challenged. In fact, they do get challenged. And I don't know the rules of busking, but I know there's a few buskers that to try and get a really good spot every week. And I've actually seen quite a few buskers that will keep to those specific spots. There's a couple of buskers I know that are in the same spot every week. And I see them every day, actually. They must go there every day. But, you know, that's what they do. They probably don't see it as a job, but to other people, you might want to go into that field. They might think, right, do you know what? I love playing music. I can play guitar. I can sing. I'll go there, I'll play guitar and I'll sing. And if people like it, they'll throw money in my bag. And if I'm really good, somebody might say, hey, I've got a band. We'd really like you to join us in our band. And it might happen, it might never happen. There might be a new MP3 player out and somebody might say, hey, we liked what you did. Can you soundtrack our MP3 player? That might be the next thing you do. And it's going to happen in all walks of life. But anyway, so you've got the goal, and now you go into the real business.